To order. Can we have a roll call? Oh, who does that? Rebecca, are you, please?
Rod Billingsley,
Present.
Bob Witters,
Present.
William Rayner,
Here.
Tom Sinclair. I still haven't wondered if you haven't received an official resignation from him.
He promised to send it, Rebecca, but I'd like to discuss that in the meeting.
Yeah.
Councilor Montoya is
He's outside. He'll be in a minute.
Arnold Lopez,
Here. Present.
John Aragón,
Present.
Daniel Goulet is absent today. We also have Mike Colvin.
Here.
James Lucero, and Adrian Jaramillo with safety.
Okay. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Gentlemen, you have the agenda in front of you. Do you have any comments or suggestions, or is the agenda okay?
I suggest we approve the agenda as written.
The motion.
Second.
Second. Motion carries. Agenda is approved. Second item, or the fourth item actually on the agenda is approval of the minutes. The minutes were mailed out or emailed out. You guys, have you had a chance to review those? Bless your heart.
Aren't you impressed?
Yes, we are.
Thank
Doc.
you.
Anybody got any comments on the minutes?
No, that ain't good.
Corrections?
I made a few suggestions to Rebecca, and I think you made those. They're just wording changes, right?
Yes, two typos, yes, I changed them.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. So then I would make a motion that we approve the
Second.
as written. Second.
As amended?
As amended.
As amended.
Thank you. Thank you.
Was this one amended, the one that I printed up like day before yesterday?
Here's-
Yesterday?
No, I did it this morning. It's
Oh,
that,
oh, okay.
and it's this one.
Oh, okay.
Welcome, sir. With those amendments, I think we've got a motion second. All in
Yeah.
favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is opportunity for public input. Do we have any public input that you're aware of, Rebecca, or? There's no public input? Okay. Next item on the agenda is new business. Sean promised me that he would send a formal letter of resignation. I have not, according to Rebecca, she has not received it. I have not received one. But I do think it would be appropriate for us to discuss a new member for this committee.
Agreed.
And so I guess with that said, I think we could make a recommendation to the council for a new member. And I'll shut up and listen to you guys, what you think, or if you've got a suggestion.
Well, the one other that has an airplane out there, from ECC,
Carrie Lane.
Carrie Lane.
Carrie,
Yeah, I don't know if that 172 is gonna be coming back. Have you heard anything from, out in Mora, with the 172 that had the,
He's pretty busy. I don't know that he would be interested in doing the committee.
yeah,
And as
but
of,
is he working?
as of right now, they're working on the insurance and
He's still in that,
he's still in that whole thing. That was the last I heard from him.
yeah, I haven't
And,
talked to him.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrie Lane might be interested.
I can talk to Carrie.
What are your thoughts?
I have
He
some
can-
thoughts.
I can have him call you.
just a minute. I'm sorry, John, Bob was talking and,
Oh, I'm sorry, I should have.
could you say, well, I guess, if I understand, Doc asked you what you thought about Carrie, as a possible member, what you.
Well, I think it's always a benefit to get somebody that actually utilizes the airport to be on these committees because it just makes sense.
Yes.
You know, they have a personal interest in how things are run and legitimate suggestions on how to make things better. Like I said, I can contact him and give him your phone number and you can talk to him and see if he's interested.
Okay. Either that or I can talk to him either way, John.
Do you know Carrie?
Yeah, well, kind of, not
Not, Just-
well,
okay.
just kind of in passing.
you're right.
But,
I know him pretty well too.
do you?
Yeah.
Well, Bob, why don't you talk to him?
Okay.
If you know him, if you know him pretty well,
Yes.
that would be,
I do.
And I'm happy to, if he has any questions of another board member, call me.
Okay.
I know him as well. Maybe not as well as you do, but
Okay.
I deal with some of his other employees more than I do actually Carrie, but he's also a client of mine.
I'll do that
There,
and get in contact with. And I have another input for you
Yes,
too. There's a lady that I'm aware of, Donna Shrepke, and
Donna.
do you know her?
No,
She's
Donna.
got horses.
Donna Schrotke. She's she's a pilot.
Yeah, she is a pilot, and I think she was fixed wing and rotary wing rated at one
Also, I
point.
don't know.
And she has a pretty strong background in that area, so she's another possibility, I think.
Did you say she has a air coupe or?
No, she doesn't have an airplane or anything right
Not
now.
that I know of.
Not right now, yeah. I believe she moved here from the Texas, Dallas
Mhm.
area. And at that time, that's when she was flying. But I don't think she did not bring an airplane here. She does not fly right now.
Okay.
I go out and work on her little horse Stewart. Quiet off.
Yeah,
So yeah,
She-
I know
she's
Donna
now into
Schrotke.
horses.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's a nice lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my 2 cents, Carrie has more interest
Right.
at this point but Donna could be a possibility if Carrie, especially if Carrie says, no, I can't do it.
what's the maximum membership that we can have?
We need one more member.
One more, okay.
One final comment, and John, you know better maybe than I do, but wasn't Kerry the one that got that door working in that lower hangar?
Mhm.
He worked on it and fixed the electrics or?
He did it, yeah, under Roper's license, yeah.
But he is.
But he's the
one that-
he's
he's
a
the one that did
qualified
it, yeah.
electrician.
Yes.
Yes.
And he did get that door working, is that,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah, I think he did.
so, I guess that's, anyway.
Why don't I get with Carrie Lane first?
Correct.
And then based on what I come up with, I'll get back to you.
Okay,
Okay?
And
That's
Donna
something.
would be an alternate person, yeah.
if she's interested, yeah,
Yeah.
that would give some balance maybe as far as.
Has Donna mentioned anything to you about it?
Yes, I actually talked to her.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what did she say?
She was interested.
Okay.
Yeah, I know both. My opinion, I would approach Kerry first because I feel he's got more interest in the airport because of having a plane there. Donna would be a good, if he can't,
Okay.
Donna's available.
Yeah.
She doesn't have another job like, all the rest of us do. So she would make the meetings and be that one person to show up to make the quorum.
Yep.
When one of us can. So anyway, that's my 2 cents, knowing both of them.
Let's talk to Kerry, and if he doesn't, then we'll talk to her.
Okay?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I do recommend that whomever is interested on being a board member, write a letter of interest to the mayor, and then the city manager would put it on the council's agenda, and mayor and council would have to approve that.
Okay.
Oh, is that, okay.
Yes.
I didn't know what the.
I just thought we
protocol
could make a recommendation.
Yes, you can make a recommendation, but it goes through the mayor,
Yes, sir, I understand
and
that.
then it goes to mayor and council for approval.
Okay, are there, is there any other, new business? Okay. Discussion items. Follow up with the, on the bottom hangar building with Jane, the safety of the structure. That was, I guess that bottom hangar has been a issue of contention. So what, you indicated that you thought it was, the bottom hangar was, essentially needed to be demolished, is that true?
Yeah, so both you and John had reached out to me, and what I had asked is that, because just looking at it, I didn't feel safe in it, so I had asked if there was some sort of inspection that could be done on it. And I'm not sure, I think that's happened, I'm not sure.
Adrian would be able to talk on that. The fire chief and safety officer went up there to do a inspection on the building. I've not received the official report on that yet, but.
Arnold? I'm
Yes,
sorry.
sir. Can we have Jane give us her background for the minutes and for us that don't really know you?
Oh, sorry,
If you
yeah.
would, please.
So I'm Jane Lucero, I'm with the State Aviation Division, which is a division through the New Mexico Department of Transportation. I've been in the aviation industry for 20 plus years, started out as a consultant, and then moved over to the division. So I work with all the airports all across the state on their CIPs and their master plans, and work with the FAA on getting funding into the state, and work with the airports on state-only funding. So I work closely with John. I'm essentially his when he has a need at the airport, he'll send me an email or he'll call me, and then I try to find funding for it. So that's kind of in a nutshell.
If I may, so that would qualify you to make that type of assessment?
No,
on the
I am not a
facility?
safety inspector. I am not a
Okay.
building inspector. Yeah, so I would not be able to make that type of assessment.
Mr. Chair. So, John, I was gonna ask you, so, the fire chief and our safety officer went out there and did an inspection. How often do they do them? Once a year, or is
They
this the
do,
first one, or?
I don't know. They usually do building inspections once a year.
Okay,
They don't normally do the hangars once a year, but
okay,
they do all our other facilities where we're spend most of our time in.
all right.
So, but this hangar, they haven't done, to your knowledge,
Not that I know of, no.
ever done it.
I don't know that never, but it's been a while.
And we have our safety officer here too, Adrian Jaramillo. If you want input from him as well.
Have you been there?
Would you like to tell us kind of what you saw, Adrian? Please?
Present something real quick?
Yes. Maybe you could start by kind of giving us a little bit of your background.
So my name is Adrian Jaramillo. I'm the safety officer for the city. I've been here close to 7 years. I do full inspections on all city property. Compliance with OSHA. And I also help Chief Span with a lot of his fire codes and. One second. I don't really know what the intentions are for the hangar, but as far as it goes, where we stand right now, we can't occupy it in any
You know
sense.
what? Pardon?
We can't occupy that building.
Really?
Yeah, It's that bad.
How many airplanes do we have in there?
You got 2 airplanes in
Two
there.
airplanes and some,
And
dump.
city-
Some of
City
your
street
equipment.
Yeah, the old fire
Yeah,
truck.
The old fire truck.
yeah. The old file truck still, yeah, I don't know how we're gonna get the thing out of there.
Take the wall down. That's what you have to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've looked at it and had discussions in regards to removing it. And I guess it's just a matter of removing that partition. Center there and bringing it out.
So I'm gonna show you guys a few of the pictures that we took. I'm just gonna go through because there's a bunch of them, but
Part of the inspection is you take pictures, you analyze what is there, and then you come back and you go over the code for each one. And if it's deemed a safety issue in that sense, then it goes down in the report. Starting with the actual hangar door, the whole structure on the side of the building that holds the door up, it is not holding any of the bolts right now. So I really don't even know how that door is up in the air. A lot of that is decayed over time. Going inside, you know, we have this kind of just mess. Got a lot of water that comes in and it's deteriorating all the boards, all the ceilings. Got a lot of mildew, a lot of mold coming in. So with the mold, we'll have to send it out, test the labs, and then get it back to see if it's black mold. If so, then we have to mitigate that, get it cleaned up, and then we can either demo or resurface, clean it. You know, there's a lot of steps to it when it comes to mold. The electrical, I don't know when it was last updated. I mean, that's just a bulb in that case, but you can tell the entire electrical system is very outdated.
yeah.
The animals, I mean, we got birds' nests, we got feces, scat everywhere. These stairs aren't up to code at all. We can't go with wood structure anymore. I mean, this one's barely standing on its own. A lot of the ceilings are missing. A lot of these are not fire rated. That's a hazard. There's your mold. That's black mold already. You can see it. We'll have to get that tested, and that's much of the building. That's almost all the building. Housekeeping. There's no doorknobs. The actual hangar door itself is in pretty rough shape. The insulation is gone. The door doesn't even close right, actually. The hangar itself isn't in bad condition. It's just once it, and I'm sure Chief Span can alliterate a little more about this, but when it's vacant for so long, then we have to use 2015 code. So we'll have to bring it up to spec. We'll have to put in a full foam suppression system. That's gonna cost a pretty penny. There's no lighting in the hangar.
Has it been vacant? Maybe I'm missing it, but I thought it'd been occupied. Since I've been around, it's been occupied.
The hangar area, is my understanding, is the only part that's used.
The only part that was used and the entire time the hangar door was broken, which was over a year, there was no occupancy in there.
That Stinson's
Just
been there.
Stinson.
That Stinson's been there, John. It hadn't moved.
Man, you can't move. I
That's
mean,
the
it's,
problem.
I don't know if that is occupying or not, but
I don't know what qualifies, but yeah, I mean, that plane has been there.
yeah, that's been there.
I mean, either way, I mean, just from what we've seen,
It doesn't have lighting in it, needs a fire suppression, doesn't have fire extinguishers in it, no exit lights, no emergency lighting. The actual concrete area, we'd have to redo all the grates, drainage. None of the doors operate correctly. Some of them don't have doorknobs. There's no egress. There's a lot of issues. I mean, there's obvious holes in the walls. Much of the ceilings are missing in the outer parts of the, on the outside of the hangar. We don't use these doors anymore. We got to get rid of these. It has to have a one motion latch on the doors, just like these ones here. This one's just, housekeeping, clean that up. This, of course, is, we don't use the ramps anymore. They have to be up to ADA code. We're gonna, we can take them out, put some stairs in. Of course, the ceiling's gone. Housekeeping. This is an actual doorway that goes into the backside with a ramp. That ramp's not up to code. Needs a rail system. Needs a ceiling. I mean, we have got a lot of exposed ceiling. Back door's missing completely. You've got a lot of decay on this concrete right here. This panel right here, I'll show it to you. Here's the decay on the actual concrete. So we'll have to bring in an engineer to check that out. Upstairs, it's kind of funny. They have the furnace system vented through the windows, which is kind of odd. And then two wildlife. We have owls upstairs, and these are the two owls here.
They've been living there for 20 years.
Yeah.
And you can tell. I mean,
They keep the
Mice
mice
down.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah. We got one in my hangar, the one I'm in, and I'm kind of glad.
there's one there.
you
See
see
the ceiling's on the ground right now,
Yeah.
and that's just from water decay. Here's the baby owls right here.
Are they a protected species?
That I have no idea. We'd have to call Game and Fish. This box here, we can't have these open slots. And then again, once we start working on this electrical system, we have to bring it fully up to code. Rear door. Cracking in the walls. I'm not sure if we can use this restroom, but
Yeah, it looks like there's a toilet in there.
They need handicap rails.
No, it needs its toilet paper.
Yeah,
I mean, but you guys get the idea.
yeah.
The building's in bad shape. There's
How-
a lot of code that we can go over, but it'll take us all day.
Kind of, well, I would assume we're interested in is its ability to house an airplane.
Correct.
And all of that, a lot of that was in the perimeter that was added on to that building, wasn't it, at some point? And look, anyway, we're not gonna have it, I would think, occupied other than housing an airplane. Now, people come with that,
Correct.
so I
So-
don't know what the scoop is, but just the center section.
And it doesn't matter. It's one whole unit. So if you're going to use the building, you have to bring the entire building up to code in order to occupy it. And right now, those exit doors on the sides, the exterior doors, just to get into the hangar, even those aren't up to code. We're missing windows in it. I mean, we could possibly demo the outside areas and keep the hangar, but at that point, we'd have to bring in CID, make sure that the structure of the building is secure enough to handle it. It's just a lot to it. And I'm gonna get John the official reports here soon.
Did
So
you,
is-
did you check the boiler room for asbestos,
we did not, we'd have to get it tested, I mean,
sir?
we'd have to get that tested.
That will not be included in your report?
That's a separate ordeal. So even the mold will have to go in, we'll have to test each individual, so asbestos we'll have to test, mold we'll have to test, and that's a whole different process. This was just the initial inspection, so these are just the findings that we saw going through the building.
Your initial walkthrough.
Right.
There's companies and people that specialize in that.
Yeah.
And we've hired them in other areas, in other buildings throughout the city, and it wouldn't be a recommendation or an expertise of the safety officer to make that shot, call that shot. But we do have companies on board that can do that. We're doing the same thing with City Hall, the old City Hall,
Yeah.
and a couple of other places. So, but yeah, you know, that's one of the things I asked our city manager to do is to have our safety inspector and our fire marshal inspect every city building and give us a report as to what conditions they're in, so we can proceed on some of these buildings. This building, I've been into it, well, probably about 6 times for different reasons. And, you know, to me, I mean, I'm not, as a councilman, you know, I wanted, you know, I supported fixing the doors, because it was really a safety issue for anybody going in and out and so forth. But, you know, to me, I've always been in this position that, you know, it's not worth investing any money in because of the circumstances that play with it. We were asking for funding for a new fire facility, training facility through the legislature this last year, and we thought maybe we could, you know, join in on that new facility with this, but this is way beyond, you know, I don't know when it was built, if it was built in the 20s or 30s, I don't know. But it's a lot of neglect throughout the years, and I'm not one that's gonna be willing to invest on this building because it's gone way beyond. So,
I guess the concern that, you know, what it is, that structure was built during World War II as a Navy training base. And so it's a historic structure. It's really the only thing that remains from that Navy base that was the kind of what reason for that the airport was developed, was as a Navy training base.
Yeah. I understand.
And so, but it's, obviously it's bad shape.
Is it under the historical preservation?
As far as I know, Council, it's not.
It's not, no. Okay, because
I don't know
you
how to
could look
do
for
that
some
or who
funding
does that.
through those
Yeah.
sources. But if it's not, I mean,
Well, it's about the only vestige that remains of the Navy base that was here during World War II, Councilman. I mean, that's, and of course, Las Vegas is not lacking in historic structures, you know, but,
they're expensive to maintain and they're expensive to bring up to date. And, you know, the code now is, you know, with this pandemic and the materials and so forth, it's skyrocketed, double, sometimes even triple, to repair a building. You're better off starting from scratch in most cases.
Guessing we could put in a,
So I don't know, I would recommend that whomever's utilizing that building or using it for storage, that we move forward and probably do away with that contract or whatever process needs to be taking place. And also I would recommend that we get the experts on the asbestos and get a report from them. Yeah, because even if it would down the road be demolished, I mean, there would still have to be some kind of clearance and for environmental purposes. Yeah.
I've got a comment.
Yes, sir.
And this inspection to add lead paint to that inspection as well.
we kind of know, but yeah, that would be.
yeah.
So is there funding available to build a new hangar? My understanding is that federal funding would not be available if it became a money-making enterprise for the city. Is that correct?
Yeah, I can take this, if that's okay, yeah. I mean,
Is there state money available?
well, if you would like to skip ahead to number 5 on the agenda,
That's coming up.
Yeah, we'll
so
wait.
yes, there is state money available, the 55 million that was appropriated by the legislature. The city put in for 2 projects at the airport. One is a apron expansion, and the second is a T hangars. So those are the 2 projects that were submitted. And those decisions have not been made yet. It is up to the director of the division. And I know he's looking at it this week. So yes, there is money available. I just don't know, possible money available
Got it.
to replace the T hangars. Or to build some T hangars, since this hangar shouldn't have aircraft.
It's just that we've got 2 individuals that are occupying that hangar now with their aircraft, and
There's no place to put them.
we
Yeah.
don't have any other hangar space. And it's kind of, and does Kerry have a contract with the city?
He does.
Yes.
So we've got, Kerry has a contract, and then, Stinson,
Ray,
both, so we have 2 people that have contracts with that.
Yeah, so I mean, there is a possibility of funding from the state. I would say it's more possible from the state than it is from the feds, because the feds like to work from center line out. And so it is on the proposed project list for the $55 million. We just don't know what projects are gonna be. There hasn't been a final determination of what projects are gonna be funded with that yet.
Got it. When will that determination be made? Do you know?
Well,
Soon?
hopefully soon. We still don't have the money from DFA. They haven't put it in our bank account. Hope no one from DFA is on. Or if you are, put it in the bank account, please. So it should be soon. I would say in the next few weeks. There should be a determination.
So that funding, is that coming from economic development or from the state coffer itself?
It's coming from the general fund, so, it was Senate, well, it was in HB2, and it's $55 million that was, we had asked for 314 million, because that's what our needs were, so they gave us 55 million, and the money has to be spent, no later than June 30th, 2026. So the money has to be spent and expended, reimbursed, everything, because it goes by.
That was for the airport itself or for New
That
Mexico?
was for New Mexico airports.
Yeah, New
So
Mexico.
all 54 public use airports in the state.
Yeah. Okay.
And the priorities, how are the priorities being set, Jane?
So what happens is when the city submits a project, we have a whole priority rating system which takes into account, is it safety, is it a 139 write-up, is it economic development potential? It's based off what the FAA priority system is, and then we assign a priority number to it. But this money is at the discretion of the director. So our director can say, you know what, I feel that we should put a hangar there instead of apron expansion, or we should do an apron expansion versus a hangar. The kind of kick with this money is it goes away in 2026. So we need projects that are gonna be designed, constructed, completed by that time. So that kind of goes into the decision that the director's making as well.
Mike, would that be a project that could be completed rather quickly if it was T hangars?
Yes, not knowing the supply chain, we were seeing issues with metal buildings, to be honest with you, pre-engineered metal buildings. I understand, I'm not an architect, but I understand that has relaxed a little bit. I think that is certainly doable in this case. I think you can get this this would be completed in time. However, a lot of the other public airports in the state have also put in for this fund for hangars. So your demand can go up, but, you know, T hangars are pre-engineered, if you will. They're not off the shelf, but they're kind of a kit, if you will. So I think it's pretty doable. I mean, I don't see a problem other than, you know, getting light bulbs is sometimes a problem right now. But now cost, we just finished up a hangar in Raton Airport. We tried to take that the square footage cost, and we increased it, if you will, trying to protect on that upside on the inflation we're seeing on building costs. Just like Councilor mentioned, we're seeing incredible increases in construction costs, as you all know, I'm sure. So we tried to protect against that, knowing that it's not today, it's probably next year when it's built.
Mr. Chair. So does that funding also include funding for demolition and removal?
If, I would say yes,
Okay.
because, I mean, once you get all the tests back and stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty clear. I think
Yeah.
we need
Yeah.
Once we get the tests back, but yeah, it can be. So for example, when we did your new terminal, we demolished the old one and built the new one.
Yeah.
So, I would hope that demolition would be included in this once all the tests get back. And it is 100% funding as well. I want to point that out because it was unexpected funding, so I can't expect our communities to put up a match. So it will be 100% funding for whatever project.
And it doesn't tie in anything to economic development.
No, I mean, that's one of the, you get some points in our priority rating system if it's gonna bring it, attract economic development, that is, but it's not. Our
Okay.
biggest concern is safety,
All right.
and then.
Cool.
But it does, economic development does,
But
it's
it's
a
not
rating
through-
factor.
It is not through economic.
But the money is not through economic development.
Alright.
It was out of the,
Yeah.
it was actually House Bill 2, that it was part of the entire state budget.
Because there are other fundings that are tied into economic development, and if you don't have economic development for other community, for other businesses and so forth involved in it, then that money is not available. So, yeah, okay, thank you for the clarification.
I guess in your rating system, and I know it's at the director's discretion, but does that include some hardship allowance? At least in this case, would that impact? Or
Yeah,
be-
absolutely it does. I mean, it's not within our priority rating system, but when we sit down and meet as a group, it's okay, you know what? They have a waiting list for hangars, or they have a hangar that is not up to code and we need to find homes for these aircraft. So it's definitely part of the discussion.
So do you sit at the table when the decision is made?
Well, it's not really a table, it's an office, so we all just kind of sit in the office. But
And
yes,
will
we
you
do sit.
advocate for us?
Absolutely. I advocate
Thank
for
you.
all my airports.
Thank you. Yes,
We appreciate that.
She is a very strong advocate.
You have that reputation as an advocate.
Yes.
I kind of do.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
Any other discussion?
No, sir.
Okay. I guess I would ask that, at least in your preliminary reports and any reports that continue, we would like to maybe get a copy of those reports of the building inspections. Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. So when will we know, if you follow through on this, when will we know if that funding would be available for that purpose?
I'm gonna say just to be on the safe side by the end of the month,
Okay.
so.
And is that the direction that we want to go? Or is there other needs that need to be addressed with that funding?
I think hangar space has gotta be top priority, doesn't it?
John, is it?
Talking about.
I have the airport ramp extension as my number one need for the airport. That ramp is pretty small, you know, with 4 planes and 1 jet. We're pretty full, you know. We've been looking at doing a ramp extension for some time now.
What's the cost
But
of
the I couldn't tell you, we have 2.5. But obviously that was the reason we put in for hangars. That's a close second on my list. We need hangars. That's evident. So, that's just a priority that I thought was important.
Yeah, I don't know what the, one question, John, as we talk about priorities, we do have some hangars that are parked up on the ramp now. I mean, some aircraft parked up on the ramp now.
Yes.
They could be, at least the guys that have been there quite a while, they could be relocated down, between my hangar and where Doc's at. There's 3 or 4 spaces, is there not?
There is, but, most people, and I'm sure you can attest to the fact of the wind and the direction those planes are parked and the time of year, they don't wanna be down there. They wanna be with their nose in the prevailing wind, and I can't blame them for that.
I don't blame them either. I understand exactly. It's,
Yeah.
I guess the only thing that could happen is turn them around 180 and provide some additional tie downs would point them generally into the wind, would it not?
Yeah, I don't know that I can dictate to them where and how to tie down, because that puts liability. If they tie down other than on the designated T and they start turning into the wind, then, and I recommend it, then that puts the city in a liability situation that I don't want to put the city in.
But that would be a fairly small job to relocate the tie down, would it not?
I don't know, you'd have to talk to
We're
him,
talking
but
about
I would say, you mean completely
just redo the tie down.
Redo the tie downs
Direction?
and the markings. Flip them.
Yes.
Yeah, I would assume that would be a fairly small project, yeah.
And do
I
what,
mean-
3 planes?
4.
Was
This
it
is on the
4?
apron itself, the current apron.
It would be right in front of Rod's hangar that, behind the fuel pumps, we got some tie downs that are there.
There's 4 anyway, I think, John, wouldn't you say?
I would say at least 4.
If you look at that,
But if you turn them in that direction where they're pointed down, we probably would not get 4, just so that they can come in and leave.
Yeah.
No, we're not gonna fit 4 in there.
Well, and that's one thing that we kind of need to look at as far as having hung a wingtip on a chain link fence in Belen the other day. I know that you can mess up
Yep.
when you're trying to get into a tight spot. So anyway, any other? I guess at the end of the day, though, we need to make maybe a recommendation to the council as far as what priorities we would have. Is it the apron, or is it the hangars, T hangars?
You know, I would suspect John deals with things every day, so I'd say the apron has to be right up there, but we need hangers. And I don't know what, he thinks the apron's number 1, well. But I know we need hangers.
That's, it's kind of a tough decision,
Yeah,
Doc,
it
but I think the airport committee needs to at least say this is our recommendation. And I understand John's got the operational responsibility, but as the airport, we've made commitments to at least 2 individuals for a lease,
And there's,
Mr.
you know,
Chair.
that Cub, he would have liked to gotten in, but, yeah, there's.
So those two
there's no-
priorities can't be supported with that funding?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, a lot of airports put in, my larger airports put in 5 or 6 projects.
Yeah.
Some smaller airports only put in 1. And so, and mind you, this is not the only funding that's available. This is special funding, 55 million that expires. We also got an increase to our budget where instead of getting $3 million a year from the legislature, we get $6 million a year to help match. So that being said, it's not, if for some reason our director says, well, we wanna do the apron, it's not the end of the T-hanger conversation because we might be able to fund the T-hangers with our regular funding that doesn't expire. It's a whole game of moving cups and money around. Yeah, so
I thought we just put them both in.
I would suggest putting them both in.
Yeah.
And you know, that way, at least from my perspective, I know if okay, well, we wanna, you know, let's do the apron, I know I need to still find money for the T-hangers.
Right,
We did put them both in, right?
You did put them
Oh,
both
that's
in,
what I
correct?
thought.
so it's in.
Yes,
It's in, yeah.
Do we have to list 1 and 2?
No,
I think we put them both in as we need these.
yeah,
That's the way we.
and who knows, he may say, let's do them both, I don't
Yeah.
know, I mean, that's the conversation.
Cause we do.
We have to have.
I mean, we get some pretty good sized jets. I saw that
Mhm.
jet plane out there this weekend. And, yeah, that kinda occupied that space.
well, then we'll, is it your feeling that we just leave it alone since that's the way it's already been entered? Is that, gentlemen, is that your feeling?
I guess as long as they're both in there.
Okay,
I wouldn't want to just enter either one.
They're both in there, yeah, they're both
Yeah.
submitted.
Okay.
okay, I guess we'll move on then. Status on bid opening for the crack seal marking projects, Mike?
Mr. Chairman, members, Counselor, we opened bids last week on the apron, taxi lanes, the hanger taxi lanes, and taxiway Bravo pavement seal project. So it's similar to what we did on the some of the other taxiways a couple years ago. That would include crack seal, surface seal, and remarking. I'll get back to the remarking from our previous comment or discussion. We only had one bidder, which we're experiencing now, recently. Normally, there's 2 firms that do this type of work at all the airports in this part of the world. One is too busy to bid new projects, so we got one bid and it's a little high. We are talking to the state, we are talking to FAA about additional funding, because it is above what the budget is for the funding. And we're supposed to hear back, it's probably next week, we'll hear back on whether FAA will offer a grant to cover that. So we're kind of in limbo right now, but the bid was responsive, they submitted all the right forms, everything's good other than funding.
How much are you looking for?
I think it's like $60,000.
That's doable.
So that's where we're at on that. So we're moving forward.
And with the funding, I will just say I'm not concerned about it.
You think,
Our,
I'm not concerned about it.
we would like the FAA to fund this.
We want the, yeah,
Yeah.
Because we know you have some other funding priorities that the state could help you with, versus FAA. We'd like FAA to hopefully kick in some extra money here, so maybe there's an opportunity to look to the state for another project, if you understand.
Yeah.
yes,
That's good, thank
So
you.
that's where we're at. So this next couple of weeks is gonna be interesting on funding.
yeah.
Just so you know.
okay. And the lighting project, that's,
The lighting project would be, I would guesstimate about 90% done. They're gonna go up this week, remove a couple of signs, finish up the dirt work, and they should be complete by the end of this week. And hopefully submitting for final, and then we'll do a final inspection whenever we can schedule that. But all of that is done.
You anticipate completion within a couple of weeks anyway, then? So-
Yes, sir.
Signs look nice. Have y'all seen them?
Some of them, yeah.
You can actually read them now.
Yes, ma'am?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of nice to be able to read what they say.
And a point there that the project, went pretty long, but just so for your information, we're understanding from suppliers that, lights, airfield lights, because now they're LED and they have some electronics in them. 18 to 24 weeks on delivery.
Jeez.
It just seems, everything seems like it's backed up.
They keep saying it's getting better, but we're not
Yeah.
seeing it on the construction
I
at all.
can't get drugs, I can't get a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to find a better place to buy.
Buying drugs, yeah.
We appreciate, the electric horsemen, they've done.
You think they've done a good job for the city?
Yes, sir.
That was the question that I had. So,
We're very fortunate to have them here.
okay, next item is the airport layout plan. I know that's in part of the process. You commented on it last time, Mike. I assume that's.
So update on that, state aviation did offer and the city executed a grant. The state has now signed the grant to put it back to the city. This happened, I think, Thursday or Friday last week, so timing there. So the rule is you can't spend any money before you have a state grant. You expect to get reimbursed, so we're ready.
There you go.
So, that's been a long time coming. So we're getting ready to, start lining out some of the preliminary work, LiDAR mapping and things like that on the airport property. One of the big efforts is going to be to search out the property acquisition, the original property acquisition, because we'll need to be able to show that on our new Exhibit A. And so we're looking for deeds in this case. And so there will be some upfront work on that. And we'll start doing the inventory. What we say is the inventory, kind of the existing condition. Obviously, the previous discussion this morning is very valid in that. We'll need to kind of list all this, document this, because this is used as kind of as your justification for new hangars, economic development, things like that, your needs. So we'll start laying that out. So we'll be talking to the city about future plans for the fire training base is still something we want to pursue. It'll be a big part of it. We're pretty excited about this. Seems like it's been going on for a while.
So it would include all of the existing structures. It would include deficiencies as they relate to the AOP, to the FAA
Right.
requirements, the one taxiway that's too close to the runway.
Right. So, we won't, not in the scope would be to go in and do a safety inspection on an individual building or asbestos testing, stuff like that. We're not gonna, normally would not get into that detail. That's not part of the scope. FAA is not gonna fund that type of thing, but they are very much requiring that you look at the airfield, you look at their standards, FAA standards, and the separations and the airport, your design aircraft, if you will, and what you're using and how that lays out, and your future needs or wants, how that lays out. So that taxiway separation will be discussed. That project's been on the books for many years. Things like that. We'll look at all the object-free areas and things like that. Runway safety area is now inventory. We'll come in and actually do an inventory of your runway safety areas and make sure you're clear, or if you have issues there, to get those taken care of, stuff like that. Mostly airfield. However, in this case, we are looking at economic development as a kind of a sidebar. just not advertising too much with the FAA.
Will it include the fueling facilities?
We'll discuss the fueling facility district. Now, we won't get in and say, well, you need to change that filter out, stuff like that. I mean, but generally capacity, use, is it, how old is it, things like that, kind of identify general needs, moving forward. Because what you're trying to do is come up with your funding plan, your capital plan, moving forward. If there's any issues you need to take care of right now, or is it 10 years down the line, or, yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
And so that it would include equipment as well, airfield maintenance equipment would be included in that?
Yes. So if you have a need for a new mower, which you do, that'll be listed. If you need equipment storage building, try to pick that up, list it, try to put a cost to it so you guys can know going forward when you're talking with FAA and the state about funding or other funding sources. You'll have that plan in front of you and you'll have that, this is what we're looking at, this is why we need it, which is a big deal.
One final thing, at least for me, is the water supply system. Is that?
And utilities, we've got that, believe me, on that list.
Yeah.
Utilities. And not just the wet utilities. There's a need up there, telephone line. I know we've been fighting that for many years right now. We'll identify that too. Those are pretty, we know about those.
Pretty
But
basic.
to attract the fire training base and stuff, you're gonna need utility upgrades. Absolutely. So how do we get there? What's the plan to kind of step that through or make that a more attractive project next go around, or as you approach the legislature, funding sources?
Would you maybe identify certain areas like the land or the property that would be needed for a base like that? Would that be part of as you evaluate the facility?
Yes, we won't go in and actually do a site plan or, we won't generally look at it as this is a good spot for it. This isn't really necessarily, we'll look at it for aeronautical use or non-aeronautical use. These are areas that aren't conducive maybe for aeronautical use because they're down the grade, but it's a property available and you all ought to look at developing that. And if that's a fire training base or some revenue producing, talk about the procedure on how to get that property identified as non-aeronautical use, so it makes that easier in the future with FAA. There's FAA's, and I know I'm getting a little long-winded here, but FAA's, with their most recent appropriation from Congress, they were charged with allowing, maybe that's a strong word, but allowing airports to develop some of this property that's probably not going to be developed for aeronautical use because they're really looking to you to become self-sustaining.
Right.
Absolutely. We can't do it if you anti-this. But so they're actually opening up on that quite a bit. There's a procedure.
Good.
Absolutely.
Good. Thank you, Mike. Yep. Any other discussion on the airport layout plan? Okay, item 5, I think we've kind of beat that horse already. Mowing equipment, I know.
We also have submitted to the state a grant application for mowing equipment. I think, I can't speak for the department, the aviation department, but they're considering that, but they're trying to get the $55 million out the door first.
Yeah, there is a mowing, we also submitted a request for mowing equipment. We're looking at doing that out of what I call our regular funding, versus the 55 million, but as Mike said, we're trying to get the 55 million stuff out first and then we'll.
So we've been working with John a little bit, discussing the type of equipment, looking for state price agreements as a possibility for procurement, which is
Okay.
easier way.
Okay. Any other discussions on that issue? Next item is new fiscal year budget review. Do we have a budget?
My understanding is the budget has not been finalized yet. We can get you that as soon as that's available, if that's, my understanding is correct.
Yes, and what we'd like to do is if we could reschedule that maybe for next meeting. And then I was thinking about asking our finance personnel maybe to do a kind of review here and like a little presentation, so we could get it right from the finance department.
That would be,
Yeah, good.
that would be good, Arnold. That really would.
I think it'd be more formal that way.
That just, I mean, it's part of the grant commitments, and so if we could see that each year, that would, but I think next meeting would be great for me. You guys okay with
I'm
that?
fine with that.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll say
Thank you for that.
that'll be next meeting in the finance department. Okay, we've also had discussion of a new member, so I think we've covered that item. With nothing else on the agenda, I guess I'd hear a motion to adjourn.
I will move that we adjourn.
Second,
We've got a motion second. I'd say we're adjourned. I want to say to the everybody that's here, I appreciate your presence and your comments and your work towards the airport. 'Cause
yeah,
it's important. It's important for
big
everybody.
smile back there, yay.
Thank you, Jane. Go out there and get us some money.
Get us some money, let's.
Big money, big
Big
money.
monies,
Yeah.
monies.
No.
No ends, no ends, big money, big money.
I bet
Sir?
we can get these projects done.